live thing. Since I'm just chilling in Harriet on a Friday, and I actually don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn mañana, because I'm not picking up my next load until 4 p.m. tomorrow. So I am parked, and I thought, let me just try out this live thing and just talk to myself. Because I've never gone live, so I don't really know that anyone would pop up for me to talk to. So I will talk to myself. Um, I asked just now on my Facebook channel, I was asking people what was their number one biggest challenge in investing or personal finance and learning about it and doing it. What is the number one biggest challenge that people have? So, if you could put that in the comments of this video, that would be very cool. I'd appreciate it because I am working on something to help people out because I feel like that is okay. So, yeah, a really good marketing campaign has been done in convincing the average person that they cannot invest because it's too risky, it's too complicated, it's too scary. There's a scam, the market will crash, and yada, 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 so on and so forth. When in fact, trading is complicated. Trading is scary and should be scary because it's very risky. Trading takes a lot of skill and study and learning and often involves mentors and years and practice trading without real funds before putting actual funds in. However, investing is really as simple as opening a savings account and making deposits. But they don't want us regular folks to believe that. Now, when I was 26 years old, I opened my first investment account. It was a Roth IRA because I knew as an actor I didn't have, a 401k or any kind of retirement savings plan. So I opened a Roth IRA, which is a retirement savings plan that anyone can open. And I was working in the clubs and I was around a lot of investment bankers. And I had done a little research and read that Warren Buffett, who is the number one investor, suggested that the average American just put their money in an S&P index fund. So I had to figure out, what is an S&P index fund? How does one even find it? Like, what does that even mean? And I found out that it is basically like a grouping of companies, the top 500 companies in the Standard and Poor's index, the S&P index. And so it is way less risky than trying to figure out what companies to buy. You just buy all 500 of the top ones and you get a little sliver of each. And that way it mitigates your risk. So it's not super risky at all. And you tend to gain historically anywhere from let's say an average of 10% of interest per year. And I can say personally, having had the majority of my investments in this S&P index fund over the years, that I've gotten anywhere from 9 to 16+% a year. So it goes up, it goes down. The stock market goes up, the stock market goes down. It's not as scary as the news would like to make you believe it is. Let's say something extreme happens like it did with COVID and the market drops 30%. The savvy people that knew, and I wish I was one of them. I wish I was one of them. When the market dropped that 30%, when, the world melted with C-19, the people that knew went shopping because they were like, oh my gosh, 30% off everything in the market. And then the market went up way more than 30% in the next few years. And so the people that got scared, like I had family members that got scared and they sold out of their investments when it dropped 30% at a loss, which is what typically a lot of regular investors will do. They'll see it drop and sell at a loss. And the savvy investors are like, a sale, and they buy more, and then they just wait, because typically the market goes up and to the right. It dips down and then it continues to go up and to the right, and it dips down and it continues to go up and to the right. And that's historically what it's done since forever. Despite depressions, despite pandemics, now it's seen two, despite anything, it dips down and then continues up and to the right. The news would have you think that the market crashes and goes to zero and you lose all your money. But that's only if you're doing risky things. If you do boring things, like what Warren Buffett said, and put your money into an S&P index fund, the one I found was ticker symbol VTI, which is the Vanguard total index. So it has a little bit of international exposure, international companies as well. So, but yeah, I found VTI, and from the age of 26 up until a few years ago, that's all I had in my portfolio. And I watched my little $50 grow. I started off doing $50 a month, and then I started doing $100 a month. And then I started doing more than that a month. And then, when there were years that I couldn't put any money in, then I didn't put any money in, but the money still grew. Now, if I knew what I know now, I'd be a retired Essence, because I would have made sure to make deposits, larger deposits, from 26, and I would be retired now. But I let the folks convince me. I was around investment bankers at the club, and I let them convince me that investing was too complicated, and I couldn't understand it, and I wouldn't be able to. Also, if I remember correctly, I think that at that time when I was learning about the market, you couldn't even buy individual shares unless you were able to buy 100 shares at a time. And now we live in a world where you can buy partial shares. You don't even have to have enough money to buy a share in a company if you wanted to go that route. Buy partial shares. And that wasn't the case when I first started learning. But forget about shares. The easiest thing to do and the least riskiest thing to do is to look at something like an index fund that mimics the S&P. And if you want to be a little more risky, then you can look at an index fund that mimics the NASDAQ, which is the tech stocks. So like something like the ticker symbol QQQM, which mimics the NASDAQ and all those tech stocks and all that AI and semiconductors and all that good stuff. So by choosing these funds, then you don't have to worry about how many shares and what companies, and you can start off with whatever money you have. You can open an account at Vanguard with $0. And I suggest Vanguard to people because they are the inventors of index funds, and they have the lowest fees, and so your money will go further. And they're a solid company. They aren't going anywhere. Vanguard, you hear names like Vanguard, BlackRock, Citadel. They own everything. And so it's not going anywhere. Your money is not going anywhere unless you decide to, buy that stock that somebody at the barbershop or the hair salon or at the, job water cooler told you to buy. If you're doing boring things like Warren Buffett said, your money's just gonna grow slowly, very slowly. It's not gonna be get rich quick. It's going to be boring and slow and go up and to the right and dip down and go up and to the right and dip down. And when you see it dip down, you got to think, ooh, sale. Let me put a little extra in. And when it goes up, you got to think, ooh, good. My portfolio is making money. And yeah, so I'm gonna be on a mission to make this investing thing not so scary to the regular folks. Because you know what? We really need regular folks to put themselves in better financial situations, especially now. I'm not saying that if you don't make a lot of money that you're going to end up being a millionaire, but what I'm saying is that if you start investing, your financial situation can only improve. And the way our government is going in America, the way our politicians are owned by the corporations that I'm telling you to invest in, you would want to get over that fear that they've convinced you about. Oh my goodness, I see a person. Hey, Patsy After Midnight. I did say on Facebook that I was gonna go live and talk to myself, and Patsy After Midnight did say that they were around, and there you are. So hi, how are you? I don't know how this works. I don't know if I can see if you say anything. I don't know. Make a comment and so I can see if I can see it. This is me testing out live just here on a Friday. It is hot every place that I've been the past few days. I was in grabbing a beverage out of my fridge. What do I want? Grab a bubbly. Oh, just some sparkling water. It is hot everywhere I've been. I've been to Oregon, Arizona, California. It is hot. And I like heat. I'm one of those people that complains all winter. But it was 92 outside. I went inside and the air conditioning, I hate AC, I hate being cold. The air conditioning had my fingers numb because it was so cold inside. And then I come outside and my poor little hands didn't know what to do. And they just started itching because they got super hot from being super numb. If you're making comments, I can't see. I'm about to start pushing buttons just to see what they do. What does that one do? Oh, that removes the sound. What does that do? Oh, those are filters. Different filters. I could be in black and white. So anyway, yeah, so like I was saying, based on what people are telling me as far as why they seem to run from personal finance, is just they don't know how to start. They don't know, like, what is step one, what is step two. And the internet is a blessing and a curse because there's just so much information out there, right? So let me see if I could break it down into the steps. Step one would be to figure out where in your budget you can make any cuts. And if you were like me, a creative person, then there weren't too many cuts that I can make. And so you have to figure out, don't have to, but figuring out how to make more money is then the solution if there aren't ways to make cuts. Now, if you could cut anything, even if it's to start off $10 a month, it really doesn't matter how much you start with. It's just a matter of creating the habit, because the discipline is really the hardest part. So finding something to cut out of the budget and to start investing in would be the step one. But the how do you do it? Actually, let's rewind that. Step one would be, in terms of personal finance advice, is to get rid of any high interest debt. So if you have credit card debt, do whatever you can to get rid of it. That would be the step one. When you get to the place where you want to start investing, step one would be going to a brokerage house and clicking online, open an account. Pick up the phone, call their customer service, talk to people, ask questions. What do I have to do to open an account? How much money do I need to open an account? You can open an account with no money at a lot of the major brokerages like Vanguard. You can open an account with $1. People think, oh, I need a lot of money to start investing. You don't. I started with $50. I saw the other day someone, I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm driving, and YouTubes while I'm driving, and someone was working with a coach, and she just wanted to get open the Vanguard account out of the way. And so she did it, and she opened the account with $1. Patsy, after midnight, I can't see if you're making any comments. Let me see. Yeah, no, I can't see if you are. If you are, I'm not ignoring you. I just have never done this before. And, oh, let's see. I see a share. Let me see if I share. All right. So I've shared it. I don't know if anybody's around. It's Friday. People are probably out doing weekend things. I don't know. But anyhow, like I was saying, the step number one is to get rid of any debt, because oftentimes that interest is going to kill any profits that you'd be making anyway. After that, it's how do I open an account? What do I buy? How does that even happen? There is Vanguard, there's Fidelity, there's Schwab. There's some other ones, but those are the three biggest. So you would go to a Fidelity or a Vanguard or a Schwab, and you would click open an account, or you would call their customer service and say, hi, I'd like to open an account, and talk to the representative to see if you should open a Roth IRA retirement account, or if you should open just a regular brokerage account. And then the next thing that confuses people is, well, I opened the account, and then what do I do? I know I've seen stories where people will open an account, a brokerage account, an investment account, and they put money in it, but then they don't buy anything with the money. And so the money's just sitting in a money market type thing, or just like, just sitting there. It's not, but they haven't bought anything. So once you open an investment account, you do have to buy something. You do have to buy investments. And this is where, savvy investors buy individual companies. They buy, stocks in Apple stock, or Nvidia is a very popular girl in the individual stock world this year. Or they'll buy stocks in old school stuff like Procter & Gamble, or the Coca-Colas of the world that everybody's heard of. But what you can do to alleviate that stress of having to choose a company, because choosing a company takes a lot of research, but choosing an index fund does not. So if you liked tech, then you would say, all right, I'm going to buy an index fund that has all of the tech companies. Like QQQM has all of the tech companies. Say, hi, I want to put money into QQQM. The safest, because the market, like I'm going to keep saying, the market is going to go up, the market is going to go down. It is what it does. But the safest thing is something for basic beginners and anyone who doesn't know how to pick a company, is an S&P index fund. So call and say, hi, I want to learn about how to put my money into an S&P index fund. Get to the Googles. Google what that means. Get thee to the investopedia.com. The information is out there. One of the things I did over the time of being home to help myself learn all of these things, and I actually became super fascinated, and now I am very obsessed with this to the point where I want to teach all of you. But I would stop anytime I came across a term that I didn't understand, and I would either go to Google or investopedia.com and I would look it up. And I would then go back and finish reading what I was reading, or then go back and push play on whatever I was watching, because it is my theory. It is my theory that those who have simply created this thing for themselves. And so therefore they made the lingo and the language of it seem like foreign to the rest of us, so that we would think, oh, this is so complicated. When in actuality, I can tell you that if at 26 years old, I had put, let's say, at 26 years old, if I had put 20% of every check, or every, I was working at bars, 20% of all my tips each night, 20% of all the money that I'd made from the age of 26 till now into just an S&P index fund, I'd be retired at 49 right now. And all I would have had to do was make deposits of 20% of every check. That's how easy it is. But they don't want us to know this. Otherwise, they teach it to us in school. Why are they teaching us calculus? Why are they teaching us algebra? When was the last time in life you had to figure out that if a train left the station at 5 o'clock, when it would reach the other station? And why were they teaching us that? Because if we actually knew how to invest, then who would work for their corporations? Who would be the working labor for those who make the multi-millions and billions? Who would work for them if we all knew how to do this? Please understand, learning how to invest and learning how to manage your money is a revolutionary act, because that will give us freedom from them. And that is what they do not want. And that is what I want for all of us. I want more good people. I want more people with good hearts to have more access to funds. If I was a gig worker, like I was, I would take a certain percentage of whatever I made. Let's say I made $200 in tips one night. I would say, all right, every time I work, I'm going to take 20%, 10%, 5%, however much percentage you can do without you having to dip back into it to get it. I would decide that that's what the percentage is, and every time I make money, I'm going to take that percentage out and put it into my investment account. That's it. That's the big mystery. Decide a percentage of your income and put it into the account that you opened at your Vanguard or your Fidelity or your Schwab, or wherever you decide that you're going to, whatever brokerage you decide you're going to open this account, right? Another thing that personal finance is important to do is to have an emergency fund before you even get to the investing stuff, right? Like, if something happens, can it not be a crisis? So step one is, what do you need to do so that you have an account somewhere that has $1,000 as the first goal? $1,000 that you just have put aside, so that, if the cat has to go to the vet, or the car needs a tire, or whatever life can throw at us, because life be lifing, have $1,000 put aside. And right now, because interest rates are so high, because inflation is so high and interest rates are so high, savings accounts are actually giving us what CDs back in the day. I don't know if you all remember CDs, and CDs back in the day used to pay you like 5%. That was guaranteed. And right now, high yield savings accounts are giving you between 4 and 5.25. I have one that's giving me 5.25% in interest. So start creating an abundance fund. I don't like saying an emergency fund because we don't want to be planning for any emergencies. Have an account in an online high yield savings account that's going to give you anywhere from 4 to 5%, and work at it $5 at a time, $10 at a time, $20 at a time, until you're able to have $1,000 set aside. Then, all right, then go open your brokerage account and start putting money there if you have gotten rid of your debts. Yeah. So those are just some things, people say, well, what do I do? How do I even get started? Step one is really get rid of the debt, because the credit card debt, that 25, 23% interest every month is a killer. So whatever you can do to throw more money at that, sell cookies, I don't know, do something to get rid of that. Step one, get rid of the debt. Step one. Step two, get at least $1,000 into a savings account, a high yield savings account that you can get to easily in case of lifing. Get it to at least $1,000, even if you have to do it 5, 10, $20 at a time. Step three, if you're ready for the investing part, when you are ready for the investing part, call up one of the brokerages that are established. I don't like the Robinhoods of the world, although they've been doing some. I saw an interview with their CEO. They've been doing some pretty interesting things, like you can actually leave the money that's in there to someone. That was something that wasn't possible before. But still, I prefer the more established guys like Vanguard. I like Fidelity. Fidelity allows you to buy partial shares, so that's a good thing. Charles Schwab. All of these places also will educate you. They have little classes you can take. They have video webinars you can tune into. So yeah, just call and talk to somebody. Say, I want to open an account. I want to open an investment account. So you open the account, you connect it to your checking account, and you start putting money into it. And then when you put money into it, you actually have to buy some investments. And you don't have to think about buying individual stocks, an S&P index fund, or some other type of mix of funds, but you can just do an S&P index fund and then go start educating yourself about other things, right? Like that's the starter pack. And then, you can start learning about other things. But if you're like, I don't even want to learn about other things, Warren Buffett said, this ain't my advice, this is what Warren Buffett said. And he said when he died, he is having his money go into an S&P index fund because his wife doesn't care about investing, doesn't know about investing. And so the best thing is for his money to go into an S&P index fund so that it can continue to grow and she doesn't have to worry about it. So if Warren Buffett said it, do a little reading, you can do that. All right. I have been running my mouth to myself for about a half an hour now. So I am going to sign off. And thank you, Patsy After Midnight, for coming and joining me so that I wasn't completely talking to myself. And maybe I will actually schedule lives. Let me know if me coming on live and chatting with you guys is something that you would find interesting, and I would actually schedule one so that we can chat. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I hope you enjoy your Friday, and I hope that you believe me when I tell you that they're lying. It's not complicated to be an investor. And it's not too late to start, no matter what age you are, no matter what financial bracket you're in, because financial improvement is available for everyone, even if financial independence may not be reached by us all. Financial improvement can happen for us all. Have a good night. Bye. Let's see if I can figure out how to stop the live now. Now I can't figure out how to stop the live. All right, let's see. There we go. All right. Have a good night.